Troublesome times are here, feeling in touch with fear. Freedom we all hold dear, now is at stake. Humble your heart to God, safe from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod, Christians away. My Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon.
We are proud, let me get where I can talk here. We are proud that you've chosen to spend a few minutes with us today because we have a first-time guest here today, and this is her, and she's a very special person, and she's going to have a good message for you, and I just hope you'll stay with us. And our guest is Katrina, make sure I get it right, Katrina Robinson. Is that right? Correct. Glad to have you here, Katrina. I like those fingernails. Could I get my nails fixed like that?
You could. You could.
Now, you are, tell me your title. You are with the ThistleFarms.
Mm-hmm. I'm a graduate of the Magdalene program.
Magdalene program. Now
and I work for ThistleFarms. I'm the National Sales Director for ThistleFarms.
Now, ThistleFarms produces a product.
We do.
And what is that product, y'all?
We make some wonderful bath and body products. All of our products are all healing to the body. One of our mottos is that we want our products to be as healing to the body as it is to the earth.
Okay. So, and this is bath products. I'm
going
to be slow on this. Is out of my category.
Okay.
So, if you got a product that will make me look young and 21 again?
I think we do. We have something for everyone.
Now, I don't want to get into something you don't want to get into here. I want you to be comfortable. I want you to talk. I want you to tell your story.
Okay.
I want you to market this ThistleFarms and what y'all are doing. And you came from the Magdalene program.
I did.
Magdalene program is a program that's devoted to helping girls come off the street and get back to a productive life in a more healthy way. And so you completed that program, which leads me to think that the day to come, there was a day when you worked on the streets.
Yes, I did. So Magdalene is a 2-year residential community for women who have survived lives of abuse, addiction, prostitution, and trafficking. When you're in the Magdalene program, you get an opportunity to go to a place where a lot of us who have never had real jobs or been able to hold real jobs, we get some much needed job skills. And that's where we make the bath and body products. The same women that have been on the streets prostituting and using drugs and doing a lot of things that were bad actually hand make and run this company now.
And so everybody that's an employee there is out of this product. I mean, they're out of this background.
It is, yes.
And how's that working for y'all?
It actually works. We have 35 women now.
That's a lot of women.
And each department, like we have a manufacturing department, we have a sales department, we have a shipping department. Each one of those departments are run by one of the graduates of the program, of the Magdalene program.
Do you, when you look back on your life, what would you have changed? And that's what I want to talk about. And y'all are doing the productive thing. This is a good program. Let me first, before I go into that, I don't want, because I'll get off on something. I'll get chasing rabbits, and I tell you what, I'll get all messed up here. How can people get to come to your program, see your program, get to know your program?
There are several different ways. We have attorneys for women who are in jail. Attorneys have called and referred women that are their clients to the program. I had a friend that was already in the program, a young lady that was on the streets with me, and she found Magdalene some kind of way, and she came back to the streets. In one of the crack houses, actually down here on North 2nd Street, which is one street over, she came back to the crack house and got me into the program, word of mouth.
What about people that want to know more about your program? How can they find out more about your program?
You can go to our website. Our website is www.ThistleFarms.org. We would also love for people to come and visit us at 5122 Charlotte Pike, right here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Say that again now.
5122 Charlotte Pike.
Okay. Now, if I wanted to come over and visit ThistleFarms and see y'all making all this miracle stuff that's going to make me look younger again, you'd welcome visitors coming in.
Anytime.
Do you have to call and get an appointment?
You do not. You just walk off the street. Actually, one of the things that helps keep our program running is the fact that we get no government funding. It's donors and people that give to the program that helps keep we have 6 residential houses where women stay when they're in the Magdalene program. women get to stay in Magdalene for 2 years rent-free.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of donors that all of this is able to stay running and up and going.
Now, what about a girl that has 2 or 3 children? If I think I did a program. I should have done research before I come in here. I think we had somebody from Magdalene House here one time and did a program, and it's one child. You can have one child.
We're not allowed
You
to
don't
have our children.
It was somebody else's program then,
It was
I guess.
somebody
Or they changed the rules
else's
since
program.
then. I don't know.
Yeah. Nope, we've never allowed the women to have their children. It's just set up for the women. But the one thing that I love about this program is that they believe in the wholeness of a woman, and her children are so important in her life. So they began the process of helping us heal and get healthy, and then integrating the children back into our lives. We get to visit with our children. The kids get to come and stay with us every other weekend at one of the homes. We're allowed to go and visit and take passes and go and see our children. They really encourage us. We've had women who haven't seen their families for 15 or 20 years to be reunited with their families.
Those children that has never seen this mother, that once healing starts taking place, but my experience, the children don't know that mother. It's like going and seeing a stranger to them, because and the children can heal quickly. They can mend very quickly if mother can be consistent and love the children.
Consistency is important. I have a 22-year-old, and 2 weeks after I had her, I went back to the streets, and my mom stepped in and raised her. So I was in and out of her life, probably more out of her life than in her life. But there's something about a bond between a mother and a child that most of the time, it doesn't matter what the mother has done, how long she has been gone. All children just want their moms.
They want mama.
That's what they want.
Now, my wife and I have served as Katrina, is that right? Your name, yeah. My wife and I have been foster parents for 100 years.
Wow.
And we learned early that we were foster parents. And we had children that came in that looked like us, and when we went out somewhere, they thought they were our biological children because they looked like us. But those children let us know they had a mama, you know, and we were always just going to be foster parents. And they called me daddy, and they looked at me to daddy's day, but still, I was a foster parent.
That's right.
Our goal was to always, we learned early, is to get the children, keep the ties with the parents. And if at all possible, have them, you know, and sometimes you get them at DHS and they wouldn't, I think they call it something else now, but they wouldn't allow it and all that stuff. It gets complicated. The cases where, Madeline, we could have the children back with those parents and biological parents, I had a girl and her mother would just fix her hair. And it's an African-American girl. And I would take her to her mother, and her mother would just plait her hair. Did more for that child just because mother fixed her hair. And then she'd go back home with us, but mama fixed her hair and mama's in her life. And that mama's gonna make it. And she's been a career criminal, but that mother's gonna make it. She's out now, and she's gonna make it.
She is, and it's the same thing like with me and my mom. So it's not just the child of the addicted parent, but the addicted child having her support system, who was my mom. My mom was always there.
Your mother was a good woman, wasn't she?
She was a good woman.
If what you've told me off camera, your mother sacrificed to take care of you.
She did.
And it wasn't her wishes that you'd go out on the street. You didn't go out on the street because your mother
not by force, by choice.
Yeah. But you had an event in your life that just was devastating, and by a loved one that wasn't a loved one.
I did.
Is what I would say.
Yeah.
And he abused you, and that set that goal for you to took away. And you went to the street just to survive. That's my guess.
That's
I'm putting words
That's
in your mouth.
exactly how it happened. Yeah.
Girls at the Magdalene House. What are the stories are pretty common, I would think. Pretty much the same thread in there. We have people that are parents out here that's raising children, and you know it's hard to fix stupid. You know, God told us we could make children. He told us how to raise children, but you have to be trained to raise children. Don't come natural, you know.
They didn't give us a manual.
That's right. And so a lot of us as parents do wrong things in moments of anger and so forth and so on. What would you say, parents, if you had one thing you say, parents, do not do this or do not do that, what would it be?
I don't think that there is no right or wrong way. I think we all do, and I'm talking about parents now, we all do the best we can with what we have to give. And sometimes that's according to things that have happened in our lives. You know, hopefully we can learn from those painful situations. But ultimately what I found out is that my baby girl is a person herself. She has her own personality. She has her own mind. You just kind of set the foundation for her and try to keep steering her, but at the end of the day, she gets to make her own choices. The one thing I did learn from my mama was that it didn't matter what choices I made, bad or good, she was still always there.
She loved you.
She loved me unconditionally.
Unconditionally.
And she would tell me when I was wrong, but nevertheless, I was her child, and she was still there to support me through whatever it was. So that never left me. I was on the streets 25, 27 years. Right here, right outside this building was one of the streets I walked on and was jumping in and out of cars. And nevertheless, I was still her child. And she kept praying for me, and she kept being there for me. Every time I decided I wanted to try to get clean again, she was always there for me. So that's the lesson that I've learned, that the kids get to make their own decisions and their own choices, but that unconditional love is priceless.
You can't put a price tag on that unconditional love, can you? When I would like to encourage parents is to make sure their children know that they love them. Because, you know, some people are so abused when they were growing up that they don't know how to say I love you. And they don't know how to express their love.
Or accept it.
And so I encourage parents to tell your children, show, prove. I've used it, I've been so bold and so strong as to say, prove to your child that you love them. Make sure there's no doubt in that child's mind. Because when a parent is saying something to a child, they may say, I love you, and the child sees that as smoke. They don't believe it, because if you're cussing them next minute, you know, and criticizing them next minute, it don't matter. And the kid's smart enough to figure out, you know, the parent may be stupid, the kid's not. And so we need to, as parents, we need to prove to our children that we really care about them and we love them. And listening is something parents need to do in working with children, is when they're starting to tell you something. Listen. And the thing that I would say, and I'm out on a limb here, but parents need to protect their children. You need to be watching for signs, and the children that I have worked with and the people I've worked with that's come from the streets, they're very smart. And they're, I would nearly say, it appears they're overprotective, but they're not overprotective. They in their protection, they see things I don't see. And I've had them, and I've had people come to church before, and I have a girl who'd been on the streets that come up and say, that man right there, you watch him. You know, and the guy sitting over there minding his own business, doing his own thing. Hey, you watch him. You don't let him near your children, and so forth and so on. And we take those steps to make sure that happens.
That's right.
And so it's important that we as parents, we watch and protect our children, know where they are, and know who their friends are, and who they're running with. What do y'all do at what kind of curriculum do you have at the Madeline House? What kind of curriculum did you go through there? Where do they start with you?
So they meet you wherever you are. Every woman that comes through the Magdalene program has a plan that is designed just for her. Every woman has her own plan. We don't have this cookie cutter plan that everybody has to follow this, because that's unrealistic, because all of us come from different places. We were raised differently. We had different things happen to us. So they sit down and they design a plan just for everybody. When I got there, I was so beat up and just tired from the streets that I slept for so long, like for maybe a week or so. I just every day would just sleep. My mind wasn't even clear. I didn't know if I wanted to stay. I didn't know if I wanted to be clean. I was just tired. It was somewhere to rest. And they would tell me to eat, because you don't eat when you're on the street. And they would say, okay, Katrina, it's okay to go bathe, take a bath, and change clothes today. You know, do that every day. And then one morning I was getting up, going to the kitchen to get something to eat, and a lot of the women were sitting in this group. And I heard one of the ladies talking about, well, my brother did this to me. And I was like, But I still wasn't.
You wasn't ready to go in the group.
I wasn't, And then when I walked back through, another girl said, well, my dad did this to me. And so eventually I found myself at the back of the group just listening to what people were saying. And before I realized it, I was in the group talking and trying to heal.
How long did it take from them, the time you walked in and spent your first night there, to get you into a group? Get you out, what I call out of the kitchen and over into the table? Because
probably about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Probably about 2 weeks.
They know what they're doing, don't they? See, a lot of people would have throw the towel in after the first. If you didn't move in the group the first day, they've been saying, out of here.
They don't even throw you out, like, of course, because it's a recovery community. You can't relapse and be in the community. But the first time I was introduced to the program, I stayed about 11 months, and I relapsed. I got into a bad relationship, and I relapsed. And 3 years later, because it took me 3 years for the fog to lift and me to realize, what am I doing back out here again?
Yes, yes.
But I remembered that there was this place where I felt pretty safe, and they took good care of me, and I called and asked if I could come back, and they said, yep, you can come right on back.
Well, were you on drugs when you was doing all this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did drugs precede you going on the street, or going on the street bring on the drugs?
I started using when I was about 14 or 15. I was still in high school. I was smoking weed and drinking beer, hanging out. It was cool. The group of kids I was hanging with, skipping school, and I still managed to make it all the way to the 12th grade, the second semester, and I dropped out the second semester. And then I found out I was supposed to graduate like 6 in my class. And my mom was devastated.
You know she was.
I was still able to, make good grades, and so once I dropped out, then it was like the crowd of kids I was hanging with. Then somebody introduced me to powder cocaine, and then when I realized that wasn't what I wanted to be doing, it was too late. I'd already crossed the line, and I couldn't stop. And I didn't realize that until I got pregnant at age 22, and I was smoking crack then. And I was like, okay, I'm pregnant now. I just got to stop. But I couldn't. No matter what I did, I couldn't stop.
How long had you been on the street at that time?
Probably about 15 or 16 years then.
Already?
Yeah.
Now the baby is okay.
My baby is 22 years old, so she's not a baby, but she'll always be my baby. Her name is Ebony. She goes to Tennessee State. She's taking a double major, and in December she'll be finished with both majors. She's actually in Memphis right now doing an internship with youth villages at Christian Brothers University.
Good.
For the summer.
Good.
So
good.
She's doing good.
So your drugs didn't mess her up?
It didn't.
She's solidly doing good.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was 2 months pregnant. And my mom said, okay, come on home. If we're going to have this baby, come on home. And what she always did, nurtured me back. And I had Ebony, and she didn't have a trace of cocaine in her system. Good. She was a preemie. But she's been doing wonderful. Haven't had any trouble out of her. So.
When the girls come in and they get in the group, what were some of the things you learned when you went in the group? When you first went in there? I know you went in with a bunch of questions like, but
I just realized I was in a place where other women were. I wasn't the only one that had experienced and went through all the stuff I went through.
And they were still being loved. They'd been through more maybe than you'd been through, and they were still loved. And that was important to you, isn't it?
That was real important.
What the churches need to do out here, we see a girl on the street, and I don't stop and talk to her on the street, because the times that I have, I nearly got in trouble because they think I'm hitting on them.
That's
so
right.
My wife, she'll talk to them. I'll take her and let her, and some of the ladies on our staff will go talk to them. What the churches need to know, besides praying for people, we need to pray for them. But what is it that churches, I don't want to say do wrong, what the churches need to do right?
I think they need to do more. That the mission of the church is to save souls.
That's right.
And the souls are not the people that are just sitting inside the church on Sunday morning or Wednesday morning or at the lunches and the dinners and all of that stuff. The people that you need to be reaching out to are the people that are lost in the trenches and in the highway.
Amen.
And all the things that go along with it, the prostitution, the teens pregnant, the HIV and AIDS, all of that stuff are things that I think the church needs to be more open to if they're really doing what.
If they're interested in people. One of my staff members told some young person that was really struggling with sin and was losing. Sin was winning, they were really losing.
It always wins.
And he told them, he said, I'm not afraid of your sin. We're not here afraid of your sin.
I love it.
Come on in.
I love it.
Come on in. I thought, boy, that's a powerful, clear statement.
I love it.
And a lot of churches come across, they leave the impression that they are afraid of their sin. And we got to roll up our sleeve. We got to get the churches out of the church building, out in the community where people live and love sinners.
Yes.
Once we get out of the judging business and get over into the loving business, great things can happen.
Can you imagine what it would be like if each church had a safe house? Just every church in Nashville had one safe house for people that are coming off the streets.
and be patient like they were,
and
like
use the
Madeline House is
resource.
with you.
Exactly.
Stay there with them. Now, you're going to get
Exactly.
conned some of the times, but, you know.
You're getting conned by people that are sitting inside the church.
Well, you're getting conned by people in there, getting conned by people in the government. I get in trouble here on this show. We're getting conned everywhere, you know. Getting conned on your job, you're getting conned everywhere.
Yeah.
But I know this, if you love people, my wife and I always say, we've invested in the stock market, we've invested in things. If you want me to lose money, give me money to put in the stock market. I guarantee you I can. I know enough to stay out of Vegas. I can tell you that. The best investment, Katrina, we ever made when we invested in people.
In people, yeah.
That gave us our best
because
investment.
I would have never thought 7 years ago that I would be where I am today. I just knew, because I was watching women get killed all around me, and I just knew that I was going to be one of those women that got killed jumping into one of those cars with one of those crazy men. Or I was going to be sitting in a dope house right down the street and somebody was going to come in and shoot us up. Or I was going to go to prison for a long time for doing something that I had no business doing.
You've been out 7 years?
No, I haven't been to jail in...
I'm talking about you've been out of...
off the streets for 7 years.
You've been off the street?
Yep.
7 years?
I'm in recovery, yes. Not healed, just in recovery.
In recovery. You're going to always be in recovery.
Always be in recovery.
Well, all of
yes.
us are, I guess, at one level or another.
Yeah.
You are married now.
I am.
Is he any good?
He's wonderful.
Is he?
He's got to be to put up,
Do you tell him
with
he's
me.
good?
I do all the time. All the time.
Where'd he find you?
We were actually going to Narcotics Anonymous meetings together. He had been on the streets too. He has a history too.
You ask him, does he know me when you get home with him?
I will.
You ask him.
I will.
And so y'all have got a lot in common.
We do. Yeah.
And life has been good to you.
Life has been good to me. Not because of anything that I've done, but just because God is so good and people are so good, have been so good to me.
What about, is there anything that you want to say to people? I don't want to sit up here and miss these questions, but is there anything that you want to say that I haven't asked you? We ain't got about 5 minutes to go. And time's flying by, isn't it?
If it's women that are on the streets, there is hope. And I'm that face of hope. I live here, I sit here living with HIV for 16 years. The doctor sent me home and told me it was nothing else they could do for me. And my mama said, but you're not the doctors of doctors. My mom just passed 2 months ago. I've been in and out of jails. I've been on the streets. I've been raped. I've been abused. I've been beaten. But I'm still here. So there is hope. Whatever the issue is, there's no issue too big. And you're never too far lost or gone to make it back.
I tell people we'll give up on somebody when God gives up on them. Until God gives up, we're going to stay right in there and keep working with them.
That's
and
promising.
you just get on your nerves. It just eventually gets on your nerves. But you still got to stay in there and keep digging.
You do.
Because somewhere there's going to be a light at the end of that tunnel.
Yes.
And somebody's life's going to turn around.
Yes.
And now, y'all are making these, how many of these bath products, I need to talk about that a little bit. How do they get these bath products?
We make them. We
They all make
handmade.
them. If somebody like me wants to buy something to look pretty.
You can go to our website. We have a store on website. You can go to any of the Whole Foods that are in Nashville. We are in 22 Whole Foods across the South region in Atlanta, North Carolina, and Franklin. You can shop.
So on your business card, when it said national, that's just not smoke. Y'all are national.
Yes. We have stores in Singapore, California. We have stores everywhere that are supporting this cause and partnering with us. We even partner with a group of women from Rwanda, Africa, the women who survived the genocide. They grow geranium, fields and fields of geranium. And Becca took a group of people over to Rwanda, and so we purchase our geranium oil from them in bulk and give the women that survived the genocide employment also. So it's not just here that we're saving and trying to bring women off the street and saving lives. It's all the way in Africa. We partner with women in Kenya, Lawala. They sold cute little bags for us to put our products in. So we're partnering with them.
They make those bags, you put them in.
Yes.
Are y'all the only plant here in Nashville?
There is only one ThistleFarms.
And that's here in Nashville.
Yeah.
Nashville's
But we
blessed,
partner with a lot of different people. People that are from everywhere else come to ThistleFarms and become Thistle Farmers. Yeah.
ThistleFarms.
Yes.
Who come up with the idea? We got 3 minutes. I love the thing.
Becca
You're talking
Stevens.
about your background.
So, do you
And
know what
thistle.
a thistle is?
Yeah, I know what that is.
Do you call a thistle a weed or a plant?
I call it a thorn.
So see, most people think of a thistle as a weed and they do not want them in their yards. But women who have been on the streets are kind of like a thistle. We
See, I think
survive
that's
through
perfect
droughts.
I think, oh yeah. you
We
can't kill
push
them
through
things.
hard concretes. We have, when we first come in, we have these prickly thorns and stuff on us, but after we've been in the program for a while, we kind of develop into this beautiful
Flower.
purple, mysterious flowers, just like the thistle does.
Yeah, yeah. It is, that's perfect name. I don't know
It
who came
is.
up with that.
Becca Stevens, the lady
Did
who's
she?
the founder of this program.
Becca Stevens.
Becca Stevens.
She needs to come see me, doesn't she?
She does. She need to get her on here.
That's right. Can she talk?
She talks. That's who
Okay.
taught me how to talk.
Anything else you want to tell anybody? That
I really appreciate you all. I think more people need to know that you all are right here in the midst where it started for me, right here. So it was a pleasure coming back to what used to be one of the worst places I used to have to be.
How did it affect you? We ain't got but a minute to go, but how did it affect you? I've talked to a lot of boys that's on drugs and girls, and they say that when they walk back into it, they can be off for a long time, but they walk into a certain scenario of where they use their first drugs, and all of a sudden, bingo, they're back into it before they realize what happened. How did it affect you when you rode in here this morning?
When I was coming down the street, when I realized it was on this corner, my stomach started flipping and turning, and I got a little nervous. But Magdalene has taught me so much stuff, and ThistleFarms has given me such a foundation. I knew to come on in and do what God had me do, and that was to come in here and spread the message of this amazing program.
Do I need to leave you when you go and get you out of the community?
Nah.
I need to ride back
I've got to go back to work. I've got to go back to work.
This community is changing.
Yeah, I see.
There's not as many girls working here as there used to work here.
That's good.
And now they're starting to flip houses here and fix them up
That's
real
so
nice.
good.
And so the community is changing.
Yes.
And God has the power to change anybody, anywhere, anytime, if they will.
Yes.
I appreciate your openness, and I appreciate you coming. I appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate your ministry of trying to help girls and get them back on their feet and get them back to being what God created them to be.
Yes.
And I want to encourage all of us, let's be patient with people, and let's say positive things to people. If a girl's out there struggling, something's happened to her, and let's get out of the judging business and get over in the loving business and start helping people to be the kind of person that they need to be, what God created them to be, and let them know that Katrina Robertson has changed her life. Their life can be changed, and if you want to get in touch with her, you can get in touch with me, and we'll get you in touch with her. Thank you for coming and being with us. God bless you so much,
God bless
folks.
you too.
Thanks for tuning in. God bless. This has been a great show. Thank you.
Sometimes I hear feeling in touch with fear. Freedom we all hold dear. Now is that stay. Humble your heart to God. Save from the chasing wrong. Seek the way pilgrims trod. Christians away. My Jesus is coming soon. Morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom. Trumpets will sound, and all of the dead shall rise. Righteous me in the skies. I'm going where no one dies, heavenward bound. Well, troubles will soon be o'er, happy forevermore. When we meet on that shore, free from all care, rising up in the skies, telling this world goodbye. Home